In the previous tutorial, we learned how to open a file at the runtime in Unity. In this tutorial, we will learn how to save a file using a native standalone file explorer or browser at runtime in Unity. In the Unity Hub, open the project from the previous tutorials. Let's create the user interface button to save the file. In the Unity editor, let's duplicate the Open File button by selecting it in the hierarchy and pressing the Ctrl or Command and D on the keyboard. Rename the duplicate to button underscore save file. Let's change its X position to 162. Expand the button game object to select the child text object. In the inspector, change the text to Save File. In the previous tutorial, we used a free Unity package called Unity Standalone File Browser. We will rely on this package in this tutorial as well. If you haven't installed the package yet, please do so following the previous tutorial on how to open file at runtime in Unity. Okay, let's create the C# script that manages the folder browsing and saving. In the project window and under the assets folder, open the scripts folder. Right-click, then create C# script and name it Save File. Let's add the newly created C# file to our scripts game object by selecting the game object and dragging the script file into its inspector area. Double-click the Save File script to open it in your code editor. In the C# file, let's start with adding some essential namespaces that provide classes and methods useful for the code we are going to add. I have briefly explained what these namespaces do in the previous tutorials. We don't need the start and update methods, so I will delete them. Let's create a string variable named file content, and we assign some text to it. We can pretend it is the content of the file we want to save. And similar to the open file code in the previous tutorial, we will handle two different scenarios of saving files in the runtime. One is saving the file using the WebGL, and the other with using the native folder explorers. And similarly, we can use if and else statements to check if we are running Unity WebGL and not Unity Editor. Else, we can assume it is the standalone platforms or the Unity Editor. In the previous tutorial, I went through the meaning of the hash characters in front of the if and else statement and the end if. Okay, on the WebGL side, we defined an external method named downloadFile. It takes 5 parameters: the name of the game object, the name of the method that gets called once the file is downloaded, and a default name of the file we want to save. The fourth parameter is a byte array containing the data inside the file, and the last parameter is the size of that array. In the previous tutorial, I went through the meaning of the DLL import and the extern expressions. Let's create a method called onClickSave that we will later attach to the Save button in the Unity editor. When a user clicks the button, this method will be called. Inside the method, let's create a variable, which is an array of bytes required to pass here. So we need to change the string value here into an array of bytes format using the UTF-8 encoding. Let's call the downloadFile method and pass to it the name of the game object to which this script is attached to, and the name of the method that gets called when the file is downloaded. This method is used from the browser. We will define it next and call it onFileDownload. Then set a default name to the saved file as model.obj, and we pass the array of bytes we assigned here and the length of its byte array. Let's define the onFileDownload method that gets called from the browser. Alright, now we are done with the WebGL part and can handle the scenario when the file is being saved while running the game or the app on Mac, Windows, or Linux. We create a method called onClickSave, similar to the name of this method here. Inside the method, we define a variable of type string named path, and we use the Save File Panel method from the Standalone file browser package we installed in the previous tutorial. This method takes 4 parameters. The title of the File Explorer window, we will call it Save File. A default folder path the File Explorer window starts with. I don't have a preferred default path, so I will leave this empty. A default name of the file being saved, and a default extension of the file being saved. This method will return the path of the file being saved, and we assign this to the string path variable here. Next, we will check if the path is valid by using isNull method of the string class. So basically, we are checking here if the path string is not null or empty. The exclamation mark in the programming means not. And if the file path is valid, we use the writeAllText method of the file class to write our data to the file. This method takes 2 parameters, the path to the file, which we got here, and the contents of the data of the file, which we created here pretending it is the data we want to save to the file. We are done with the code. Let's save the script file and go back to the Unity editor. In the Unity editor, let's assign the onClickSave method we created in the code to the Save File button. In the hierarchy, I will select the Save File button, then in the inspector, scroll down to the onClick event. Notice the Open File onClickOpen method has come attached to the Save File button because we duplicated this button from the Open File button. But we don't need this method here, so I will click the minus sign to remove it. Let's add a method by clicking on the plus sign here. Then drag the game object containing the code, which is the script game object, to the slot here. Then we can access all public methods attached in the scripts attached to the game object. Click on the drop-down and under the Save File script, select the onClickSave method. Let's click play to see the result. Click the Save File button and navigate to a folder where you want to save the file. In my case, it will be a folder named Save inside my download directory. Open the folder. Notice that the default file name is model, and the file type is obj, and the Explorer window title is what we set in the script. Okay, click Save. The file will be created and the contents will be saved there. We can open the folder to check if the file is there. I can also open the file in the Text Edit app to view its contents. Great job! In this tutorial, we learn how to save a file at runtime in Unity using a standalone file browser.